Okay, recording in progress. Everybody look your best. Okay, so we're going to start out first of all, just so everybody, we're just going to remind what's coming up on Monday, March 14th. The first thing we start out with is a Board of Directors organizational meeting. And you have.
No, the annual meeting.
I mean, the annual
Yeah.
meeting, excuse me,
Yes, sir.
the annual meeting first. And you have, the first thing we order, of course, we have the roll, and you got it all there. It's always given it to you, proof of meeting. Unapproved minutes are the minutes that were done last year.
Yeah, you'll all have
So
a
you
copy of
will
that.
all have a copy of those minutes, because the only time we look at those meetings is once a year.
Who's gonna remember?
Well, you better read them over. I don't know. I mean,
You all have copies.
yeah.
You will be given copies. before
So
the
they
meeting.
will, yeah, they will be last year's minutes that you will look at and approve. And then they just follow the minutes right along. Then we'll go over the minutes, then the report of the president, which will come from me. Then all of you, hopefully the officers will have a report that will ask you to do more or less a summary of what you want to say to the owners and board members of what took place over the year. Then a report from each of the committee chair people on what took place at the committees. Any unfinished business, and I don't think we will have any for this that we go over at all. I think that's just on there because we normally do, it,
That's
right?
just part of it because it's required.
Exactly. Then we would go to new business, and the only new business that we're probably going to be going over is we're going to have a short presentation. Remember that Shannon had asked us for the installation for all of the owners to kind of get them up to speed or tell them a little bit about the solar panels. And that will be a Zoom presentation. Yes. John.
I was asked to contact the insurance agent to see if he could come make a short presentation. And unfortunately, it's spring break week and he and his family are going to be out of town.
Oh, bummer.
So that would have been a perfect time, but
Yeah.
he said he'll come at any time, any meeting we want. It may not be annual meeting, but we get 30 or 40 people constantly. So he said he'd come to April meeting or anything to make presentations.
So John, can I ask you, if he's not going to be here, since we're going to have the owners and that's an owners meeting, could we put you in here as a short presentation on the insurance? Because that's kind of important for the owners
I
with
think
the
so.
increase, so they understand. So
Yeah.
would you mind?
Not
if
at
we
all.
put you in there as a presentation on the insurance, so everybody has an idea rather than when we get into it, we need them to come back, but I think at this time it would be good to have you say
Okay.
something.
Will do.
So
I mean-
let's insert there.
He could give you some key talking points.
He doesn't have to be a man.
John knows that.
You already know, right?
Yeah, John, so we'll put you, just
But thank
pencil you
you.
in there, but you'll put that in there, right?
Will do.
Then that meeting I will adjourn. Hopefully all the proxies are in, we don't have any problems. So that will be the end of the annual meeting. At that point, I will be leaving and Debbie will be leaving the board. So I'm gonna do a song and dance. It'll be a short one, only lasts about 15 minutes. I mean, no problem. I
Can we have a box
band
of these
hired
ready?
to
Yeah,
come in.
right?
I mean,
Sue,
no
can we have a
problem.
box of these ready before?
We
you
have a
go?
box of those ready, no problem. I'm not gonna make it too big of a scene, just a little performance that I'd like everybody to see before I leave. Okay, so with that in mind, then I will leave and then Roger will take over as your vice president. Yes,
Just before we leave the annual meeting, just to have an understanding, if we do not get the number of proxies,
oh, yeah.
the good news is we really don't have anything to vote on, but proxies have a 40-day life. And so if we don't get the proper number and we don't get a quorum, we can extend, not adjourn that meeting, but continue it to 40 days hence and go out and try to get enough proxies to,
How close are we? Do we know?
Maggie, do we have any idea how many proxies we have? Okay, thank you. Each year we struggle on the last couple
Yeah.
days to get them, even when there's hot topics voting.
Now that
And-
we don't have any. Oh, that's me.
Oh, I thought
Do
I
the-
was at mass.
Because the annual meeting is an owners meeting, do they get an opportunity to speak at
Yeah,
that?
it should be the last one.
I don't see it.
Nope. it's not
Number
here.
12.
It should be on this.
Really should be. I didn't cut anything off last
It's
year.
on, isn't it number 12?
No, that's on, that's the meeting agenda.
The
It's not
meeting.
annual meeting.
That's
The
not,
annual meeting.
yeah. All right, we'll make sure that they get a point on there.
Aren't you
No,
talking,
you
never
know.
here on this one, they have owners' comments.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
that's,
they-
for some
This
reason
is
it's-
their meeting.
yeah.
I'm so used to
The
this.
annual
Oh,
meeting, you're
yeah.
absolutely right,
All
there
right,
should be an
so-
owners.
All right, after the presentation of discussion, we'll put owners.
Okay, I have a question because I want to be prepared in case we do any voting. We have our new members, Tiffany Conklin, is that Conklin?
Conklin.
And Debbie Harder?
Debbie, well, we haven't talked about that yet.
We
Oh,
haven't
okay.
talked about that yet.
Oh, sorry.
That's coming up
We should talk about
momentarily.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
We should talk about it. We might as well talk about it right now.
Yeah, might as well. All right, what we're talking about is moving on to the organizational meeting, at which would normally be just a president nomination, vice president, and so on. However, a couple things. Ms. Donaldson, who was elected by acclaim from the Oak View, had to resign due to the ill health of her husband. And so a mini search, I guess, went on, and we tried to ask a few people and lived in either Oak or Oakview if they would be interested. And it turned out that I happened to talk to, and I think you may have been with me that day, Steve. Debbie Herder owns a place in Sherwood, and she also owns a place in Oakview. She comes to many. Oh my God,
That's how many
How
we
many?
have?
75,
And what do we need?
280. That's really tough. Well, we got a week. Almost.
Do an email
What about-
push.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got to do a blast, okay? Proxies, where are you? Okay. That doesn't surprise me, unfortunately. But we will get 40 or 50 people to come. But a lot of times those people have already submitted proxies, you know?
Yeah, I've got a proxy in the box and I'm gonna
Yeah.
leave it.
Yeah.
I'll walk around. Yeah, I do
Yeah.
too.
Okay, yeah, anybody can talk to your neighbors, that would help. But I mean, it's no disaster, it's just you want to think that you'd be able to get a quorum for your annual meeting. Because we fight each year, and I think last year we ended up with 303 because there was an election. But
Yeah.
see, nobody's
Right.
voting on anything, there's no impetus to have people turn it
And it
in,
reminded me, you should always make sure we have something to vote on, I think.
yeah.
Water fountains, I don't know what, but maybe something, but
Well, we
it's-
should ask about that too.
Well,
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Well, there's gonna be a discussion in regards to our taxes and so on. Or I shouldn't say taxes, I mean, our insurance. Will there be any vote in regards to
There's
that?
nothing on the agenda
additional cost?
unless you wish to bring it up under the treasurer's report or the finance committee report, which you head. There's no general discussion planned for insurance right now.
We don't
No.
need to have. one.
You don't need to have one. I mean, I think it'll be coming after,
Yeah.
because the board should have massaged the discussion extensively before, but that's gonna be up to you all. I mean, this is your meeting
So but
along
let
with
me ask you
theirs.
something, John. How are we set on our cluster reps?
We
we full?
should be full, yeah.
Couldn't we just, even though they haven't had a meeting, couldn't we get Paula or you or somebody to get to them? This is ideally what we talked about, that our cluster reps
Yeah.
could help us
Yeah, I'll
out.
have Maggie
Put
call.
notices on the mail.
I'll call
And not
Paul.
only that, but they can go door to door and say, hey, and you need to tell the residents, we only have 75 people right now. We need 280 to have this meeting. This is a prime situation that I've always thought it's so important to have these representatives.
Well, let me ask a question. What if we don't get? the-
Well, that's what he said, what we have to do. We
Well,
You
have to
continue the meeting,
continue the meeting for
and
40 days.
if you never get a quorum,
Right.
you never had a meeting that year, that's all.
Okay.
I
but
mean, because it's,
Our
like I
basic-
said, we're not voting on amendments, we're not doing this, we're not doing that.
We would still move on with
Yeah.
the organizational meeting.
Oh, yes.
And the regular
Yes.
meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this is a prime time that,
Well, let's make a personal contact. We'll get some extra proxies out to anybody who wants them.
yeah,
We'll make some copies. If Roger said he's gonna call Mary Ann Lillis so he can talk to her for the, you can talk to her about this. She is now the cluster advisor for that area.
You really?
You're-
I'm glad I don't have any. to do with
But she
cluster
said,
advisors.
but she said she will not, she will resign immediately if we don't have a 7 or 7:30 meeting at night.
and you know, that's.
Oh,
So,
we're
so
not gonna do
she's
that.
gonna be resigning
Yeah.
shortly.
Okay.
What
Yeah,
cluster, what
really.
cluster is that?
She's 532,
519.
519, 519, 532 is her friend, Mrs. Huff. I'm sorry, you're right. They're
Okay,
kind of
She-
twins.
She repeated many times in my ear, 519, 519, 519.
She has a tendency to repeat herself.
so anyway, this is a prime example of why it's so important to have our cluster advisors to go out and talk to people and put it on the board. I'm not saying they shouldn't put it on the board, but they should also talk to
Yeah.
people. So this might be a good time to
Yeah.
get them going.
Yeah, well, that's a real good idea. And we can do that this afternoon.
So as far as I wanted to add to this, Victoria, what happened is her husband was not real well anyway, but they called the ambulance twice for him a week ago. And so he had, I don't know if he had a stroke or whatever happened, but I saw her again yesterday and just told her I was sorry. She expressed again how sorry she was, that she was very excited to be on the board. But whatever medical condition he went through, she said he will never be the same. And so she feels, that is her primary job, to take care of her
Yeah.
husband. So,
And he is considered, he's 93.
yeah, and so she just,
So she's only in her 70s. Yeah.
yeah, and I know she feels badly about it, and I had approached another person that I thought, but I couldn't get anybody else out of Oak. I tried, but you've got somebody now,
Yeah.
right?
And I talked to, we were together. What's her name in the corner?
Yeah. Her husband passed away
Yeah,
also.
Yeah, Jack.
Chris,
Chris. Oh.
she's on your IT committee too.
Oh,
Chris
well,
knows, yeah.
out of sight, out of mind for some
Yeah.
reason.
So anyway, so you will have a full board that Debbie will be representing Oak.
Well, that's it. I mean, that's gonna be up to the board and
Yeah, you'll
what I
be
was,
appointed.
she's said she would do so. She comes to almost she's on the building committee, she's on the grounds committee
And the pool committee?
and the pool committee, so
Yeah.
she's been active and
She knows. what's
Is
going
this
on.
something I can put in the newsletter like I did with Tiffany?
Not
or
until you
can't?
vote on it.
well, it's not done. Yeah, you can't do it till the
Yeah, So it
14th.
had to be done this Friday. So
Yeah.
just don't.
Yeah, yeah.
That's fine.
So there'll be, we can amend this agenda for the second meeting to say appoint a board member. Yeah,
For number 4 instead
that
of
would
elect
be,
officers?
that would be number 4 would be appoint board member, and number 5 would be elect officers. Because you should put somebody on for a full board before you do it. And this way you'll have a full board, which is good, as you said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any questions?
Anybody? Okay, so the next component, like say, after I do my song and dance and the band leaves the room, then you will go on with the organizational meeting.
Okay, I'm sorry, I have one more question, because I want to get the roll finished. That's why I want
Sure.
the names. Because Tiffany has been elected, she's going to be on the roll.
Yes,
I mean, Debbie is too, but I won't call her.
yeah, right.
Any other questions on that? No. Okay, so I think you know your agenda, what we're going to be doing on the organizational meeting, right? That's kind of self-explanatory. From there, it will go on to the board of directors meeting, and that's a pretty lengthy agenda, and I just want to go through that. From there, the new president will be running this agenda, but today is just a workshop to go through it and see if there's anything the board wishes to discuss, even though I won't be the president, but this is the time we need to just go through it. Like I say, we're just, anything you have questions on. I mean, we're okay. I think we're just gonna run through it, call to order, confirmation of proper notice, roll call, the new president's comments, The meeting minutes were sent out. I run over them, John, myself. If you have any questions, probably it'd be a good idea to look over that minutes that John sent out instead of waiting until that day and saying, gee, this is a mistake there, which we've had happen a couple times this year. That was one, remember, that we carried over because of the insurance meeting. We didn't close it, we extended it, and John did send it out to everybody. That was from the March 3rd meeting that we continued. So it's been given to all the board members. Then we go to financial matters, and that's John West, accounts receivable, accounts with legal problems. and
You
we-
stop one
Yes,
second.
sir.
Yeah, we presume we will have the report for the 28th. Being usually our meeting is the third week,
Right,
and sometimes the bank statements don't get in and things of that nature. So it's on there, but we may have to jump it. But it will be a little bit complicated, John, and we were just talking about this. Of course, we have a $437,000 insurance bill, and we have 400,000 in the account. And so.
did you
yeah.
want to go over this right now?
I will,
Just the board?
no, not yet, but I just wanted to say that we had a CD, not a CD, but a money market account. And we had to take that and put it into the operating account to make sure we had the funds. But we'll talk about that.
That was some of the concern I had, is that we didn't have a paper trail.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have one, but if we hadn't moved the money market, we'd have ended up with $37,000 in the bank in our operating. fund. Not funny.
But you could have taken it out of the other account, right?
That's what we did. That's the reason we did. That's correct. It's tight. It's very tight, tightest they've ever been here. But I mean, why would you have a money market account that's operating funds and not use it to pay the
Yeah, if it's in
insurance?
the
bill?
operating
Yes,
fund,
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah, it's fine.
It's in the,
Yeah.
that we've not touched any reserves.
Yeah.
I mean, the bank asked, do you want to move some reserve funds? And I said, no, number one, the board would have to make that. Number two,
Right.
it's not legal.
Well, I think the important part there is that we some way convey that to the owners so
Yeah.
that they understand.
I'll give you a full run out.
Because, you know, everybody's very controlling on the reserves. They don't want us jumping around in that.
There's no reserves
There's no-
touched with
right.
this. Absolutely not. I
So
would-
that'll.
I would
that'll
never
all-
even, I don't care if we had to borrow it. I
Yeah.
would never recommend you
No.
take money from the
I
reserves.
know that, but you know, there's a question out there somewhere, so.
Sure.
And there's confusion about the terminology.
Yeah.
When people hear it, they hear surplus, but they hear reserves. They get very, very
Yeah, they do
confused.
confuse those two.
They confuse them.
Yeah.
And
Well-
it's a blessing that we have the surplus, especially, I mean, this is a perfect instance to convince the owners as to why we need to maintain a
Well,
surplus.
maybe we need to review sometimes how many perfect instances we've had, standpipes. And
Hurricane.
Well,
hurricane.
fortunately, we've always had a surplus,
That's
at
right.
least since I've been here.
Yeah, they didn't,
And we've
when
always
when
had
I
that.
joined the board, it was in trouble.
The
Yeah.
surplus?
Big time.
Everything, the financial picture was in, until Carrie
Close to
and
it,
John
so.
worked on it.
Yeah,
long
it
as I've
was
been here,
trouble.
we had
It-
it
We
was-
had to do a little,
We weren't fully funded, were we, in
No.
reserves?
Yes.
No.
well.
It was.
You were, but you weren't. Okay, you were given the impression that you were. But there was so much maturation going on. It took Carrie and I maybe 3 months
Yeah.
to go to all the bottom of it.
Yeah.
But anyway, you are fully funded. You
Right.
can now use the word had surplus.
Yeah.
No word have.
Someone has.
We pay it back.
So then we're gonna go with the accounts receivable, the legal problems, and then we're into old business,
All
right?
business, yep.
We'll have an update on the slab
Yeah,
renovation.
real quickly, and we don't have to go through it all, but unless Steve wants to do it, we're interviewing next week a new contractor who can devote more full time to do this project, and hopefully it'll work out. The GC and the president of the corporation are meeting with Steve and I next Thursday in hopes to get this project back on
Is
track.
this using the new process that we talked about?
I know we're gonna get rid of that. We're not even gonna use that. The quotes came in higher than we anticipated. So we're gonna use ordinary paint, and we're looking to maybe, not ordinary paint, a special paint that Steve has worked with. I don't want to talk to you.
I used it on my sidewalk. It's a real thick, syrupy very thick, and we use it on the second floor deck of the one that was complaining about the slippage. It has a real good grit to it. I think, as far as that crack where the wall hits the platform,
Yeah.
we can soak it in there and take care of that problem. And mine's been down for almost 5 years,
Wow.
and my front sidewalk is perfectly fine. The only time it got damaged is when they were putting in my new windows. They set down a window frame, a little sharp edge, and just put a little slice in it, but I just put some over it and it was fine.
Great.
So
Yeah,
I
that
think
could-
that will work.
That could save us as much as $1,500 a project.
Oh, that'd
Yeah,
be wonderful.
Yeah, so we can get more done.
That would be wonderful. Okay, that's
And so
great.
we've had a success then, right?
Yeah.
Good. That's
Yeah.
the important part, because it seems like we keep,
Oh, we've been pushing
Looking
this
for
up.
the
Well,
solution.
what's happened is,
Uh,
yeah, we
maybe
got a success on the top,
Mhm.
but unfortunately, Lee Rapasi, who is an owner here,
Yeah.
is just so crazily busy and employees are impossible to find.
oh.
We all know that he hasn't been able to do anything.
oh,
And so
shame.
we have 2 units now that are supported
Mhm.
with
It was crank up.
the crank up
Still.
stilts
Yeah.
because of our concern about their condition.
Oh, I know.
So we got those
2
2. yeah.
units.
Probably
Yeah.
looks
It's in the 700s.
iffy.
It doesn't seem to be rhyming and reason. I mean, 700s are built way after some of the others, but
Mhm.
they're failing. Well, it is what it is. I hate to say that statement. Anyway,
Okay, good. So that looks like good progress.
I don't know about this one, next one.
That's clear, but
We're having a
wasn't there a
meeting Thursday.
meeting? Wasn't
Okay.
there a
Yeah,
meeting?
There's a
we're
meeting
gonna be in
Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah, and I had,
And she hopes to have everything resolved for this meeting,
what, were you at the meeting on Thursday? Anybody here that was at the meeting?
this coming Thursday.
Oh, I thought there was one last.
Yes,
week.
there was.
So that was the
Oh,
other.
was
day.
there?
Yeah, there was, I think that Tammy and Barbara and.
Oh, that thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
there.
yeah,
I was there.
yeah, yeah, it's
So
the- yeah.
she's got all that feedback. Now the committee's coming
Yeah.
together this Thursday.
Right.
to
Because
go
it was
through the
feed in.
updates.
Okay.
and-
Yes,
And she wanted you all as committee members to make
Right.
sure that you were comfortable with what
Right.
was amended.
right.
How was the update meeting, Barb? Did that go well? You got
I think it
everything
went really well.
really well?
Yeah.
Cleaned all that up and,
Yeah, and the second meeting she had with us, she brought one of her committee members to be better tracking changes, because she was doing it all herself the first meeting we
Right.
had. So that was a lot, because that's where we got most of the changes. Is it typical?
yeah.
Could be
it's,
done.
It's actually
Yeah.
pretty good.
So
Oh,
very
you
receptive.
can
I mean, because there was consensus as we went through the
It's strong.
changes. We talked about it, came to consensus. So I think they're really gonna go with our changes.
Wonderful.
We'll see. But she had left it where she's gonna take it back to the committee and, make sure they're on board with all those changes.
Are you guys, is she gonna send the committee maybe an update of those changes prior to you getting together or no? You're
Well,
just
I think
gonna
we
make?
have to
don't
vote
know.
on it, don't we? To vote on
Yeah,
so
but
we
I wondered if the committee was gonna look at the changes prior,
prior to it.
I
just
don't know
for
what
the
she-
saving
I
time.
think that's
which is
what they're
always
doing
good to get
Thursday.
in
I don't know what
advance.
she's bringing. She didn't tell me what she's bringing. She just said we need to go over the recommendations.
Yeah,
To-
which
at
were
the
basically
board
of
meeting?
2 meetings that you've had.
She's gonna do it at the board meeting?
No,
No,
No.
Thursday.
this Thursday, she's having a committee meeting.
Oh, at her
To go-
committee meeting.
her
Yeah.
committee.
Right, her
Yeah.
committee,
wants
and they're
us to
gonna go
come.
over it and then
No.
she'll
No.
present
No,
it.
okay.
I think.
No.
at the-
She's bringing to us all of your recommendations.
Yeah, my
Oh, you're on the
question,
committee.
I'm on the committee.
Ah, gotcha, okay.
yeah, my question was, wondered if she was gonna give the committee members the changes in
Yeah, ahead of
advance
time.
to your meeting
Yeah,
on
she didn't-
Thursday,
I doubt it.
which would save you a lot of time when you got in there Thursday if that happened. I just wondered.
It's Dick Picola and Chris Perry and me and Claire.
Right.
And I don't know if there's another person. I can't remember.
I usually come to them, but I couldn't the other time, but I might come this Thursday. I don't know what my schedule is.
I've
Yes.
seen some things in there that I wonder if we aren't putting a cart before the horse, and that's elimination of committees. I think that's something a board has to eliminate. We may have a recommendation from the committee to get rid of this one, and this
Well, you're
one.
gonna get a copy of it.
I
The
know.
whole thing will be a recommendation, John.
Yeah, the whole
The
thing.
whole thing is a
All
recommendation.
right, good. So there will be a list of ones that she's eliminated, because some of them, yeah, they're dead, but but, and haven't met in 5 years, but
Then why would you
maybe
wanna
there's
keep 'em?
something you want to keep, pardon me?
Why would you want to keep them?
That's the point we need to discuss. Do we want to keep them? There
Well,
are some.
We haven't had them in 5
unless
years.
the-
I
Well,
don't
it's
think we
about
need them.
dotting the i's and crossing the
Yeah.
t's
What
to
are
make
they-
sure
what
everybody's
is it?
aware of these
Creeper
committees.
Talking about
Well, they'll
disaster
come to the
relief and
committee
some of
and
the other
do
things.
That's-
I know.
But they had input from the committee,
Yeah, never was.
community, and the committees met, I don't know how, until they've all looked at it, you know.
Well, I would say a simple motion. I make a recommendation that we eliminate these committees because of non-use, bam, 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 and we're gone. But
I
it's
don't
a
know, maybe
paper
like a
trail.
summary from Claire that
Yeah.
says this incorporates eliminating.
You might
these committees
tell Claire
You know
that.
what,
and
getting,
adding- or
may I-
adding
10
may I
o'clock.
speak?
Yeah.
This
So,
is gonna be
10
like
o'clock
a
Thursday.
6-hour meeting anyway on Monday.
I'm not even gonna
And
do
I'm
it.
thinking, maybe we don't want to have that discussion at the annual meeting.
It's
I
not.
think,
It's
Or
not.
at this,
This is the
Yeah,
board
it is.
meeting.
This is.
Well, this
I
can
mean,
be
at the board
tabled,
meeting,
this
but-
can be
Yeah,
tabled to April if you want to take it off the
that's
agenda.
what I'm
is there.
saying is, we've got,
Oh, we got so much.
so
Got it,
much.
Got it,
yeah.
got it,
why would we want to add to
got it.
our
And
frustration?
some things that we'll have to jump over. if we're gonna put it in the
Because
annual.
just
That's good.
this little group
Yeah.
here, look at all that, so
That's good, because it's under old business.
Yeah, I
You
think-
could, you could defer it.
I think we should defer. Tell Claire she doesn't have to hurry.
Okay,
Take some pressure off of her.
But I would get that thing and look at it first.
okay. Well,
You
we
know.
could look at it Thursday, especially if we're gonna defer it.
Exactly.
She'll probably be pleased. but-
That's what I thought. I
Yeah.
mean, she
Okay.
was stressing
Yeah.
and that's not good.
She was.
Yeah,
Okay.
you want to get home before happy hour? Is that it?
Yeah. Or maybe have one of these. Cookie can bring
You know,
happy
that's why it's a
hour.
good thing that
I'll
we
bring
go
you
over,
the
that's,
box.
you know, this is a good point for why we at least just go over these things before the meeting.
Right.
I mean, it's really, and we don't have to spend a lot of time, we don't have to repeat the meeting, but we need to go over them at these things.
So John, would you just take that off the agenda?
It's, yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be off, but it's gonna be noted for the next time or
Okay.
whenever
Yeah.
you're
Okay.
ready. I mean, this is something that if it doesn't come until June,
Yeah, I
you
know.
want
It's
to be
been in the
comfortable
works.
with it at one time.
It's been in the works since fall. so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not, it's
Well, actually, Paul
maybe even
Atherton,
longer.
and, oh my goodness, the other gentleman who died, where he's given this task in
talking about-
2017.
you're talking
Okay.
So
about,
it's been on,
you're
it's
talking
been
about,
underway.
you're talking about Bill, aren't you?
Bill, yeah,
Oh, yeah, I
that's right.
remember Bill. He's a good guy. Okay, front entry identification.
Oh,
sign.
it's beautiful.
Meeting.
Great.
Is that, I haven't seen it, I only went
What's
by
up?
it one time when they
What's up?
first
I
did
came
it.
in last
I'm gonna
night
be a
and
while.
noticed it right away.
Jeff did a wonderful job.
Great.
I'll
Okay,
compare-
see
cluster
what the light on
advisor
was.
No, I,
volunteers.
I came home before it was dark.
Yeah, I haven't come home that, after dark that way, but I will the next time. Okay,
Susan, on the
Oh, okay.
cluster advisor.
All right, I'll talk to
I
you.
think
I'll
we
call you.
should introduce all those, or at least name them at the annual meeting, so people could see that that's my cluster advisor.
I think it would be a very nice idea. I
If they
mean,
show up,
What did I
it
miss?
could at
I missed-
least, he said that we should
least
introduce
tell
them
who they
at
are.
the meeting. And I think that would be a nice idea to invite all of the cluster advisors to come to this meeting. They may not show up, but I think if they had a personal invitation and say, we would like to introduce you to the residents so that everybody knows who they are. They may not show up, but that's one of those things, again, they need to be
Then they do it.
acknowledged.
Yeah, they've got a name, comes up, it's
Yeah.
Oakview and.
Yeah, I think that
Charlie
would be a
Brown.
wonderful thing. We need to acknowledge them more often
Mhm.
and
And an owners meeting is the perfect
A
place.
perfect
to do
place
it.
Yeah,
to
well,
do
this is
that.
the board meeting after the owners
Yeah,
meeting,
but I think.
but
they're
this
suggesting
is
so,
on
I
the
know.
agenda because she was gonna announce when she was calling her meeting.
Oh, okay.
She's gonna have a meeting in the, I think the last week in March. So this is what was on the agenda, so she could tell everybody when to come.
I think we've got one meeting in the whole year where we can introduce the new things that are coming or we're working on.
yeah.
And the things that we've completed, and this is the one, if nothing more than paper trails, so that our minutes of the meeting don't look so chopped off at the end of.
I think this is a prime meeting to ask them to come when she announces them and introduces them.
Well,
And it
may I-
doesn't take that
well,
much
may I
time.
suggest we do that at the owners meeting instead of this meeting? Because lots of people leave by the time we get to this
Yeah.
meeting.
You're right, I was just gonna say the same thing.
Okay, so put it on
So
this agenda.
Maybe 2/3 of the people leave before
Mhm.
this meeting.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay, let's put on the owners. But I think it's a prime time when the
Yeah.
owners are there, and we'll lose this one time in a year
Right.
to
All right.
have Paula introduce.
At least
So we'll
read
put it
off
right
the
after
names.
the solar panels
Yes,
and before owners.
yes.
How about
Yeah.
report of committees?
Yeah.
And that is-
Well, it's not really a committee.
It's not a report.
it's-
It's gonna go in just like right after the report. Actually,
Right
John's
before the
coming,
bottom.
coming after you.
Yeah, oh, all right. So, all right, right now we have installation of solar panels. We have
She would be
insurance,
L.
we have cluster advisors, and then we have owners.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah, let's put it in there. So, I mean, that, you're gonna lose that special moment if you don't do it during the owners meeting. So that's a good idea.
Good point.
Okay, then the spring fling, April
so it
9th.
comes off here, this.
Yes, comes off, D comes off, remove. Okay, spring fling, we just want an update on that?
Let everybody know it's coming soon,
Yep.
And there's a
and
sign-up
the
sheet on it.
committees are working very well on it, right, Barb?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then we have funding and insurance. Is this one you wanted to go
Well,
with this thing for
well,
everybody?
the committee, not the committee, the board asked me to be prepared today to give you an idea of which way it's gonna go.
Right.
Okay, this doesn't necessarily have to go on this agenda, but I've also heard from board members saying the sooner we get it out there, the better it's gonna be, because there's more discussion involved. So I am prepared to give you this presentation. As hard as it is for me to give it to you, because it's tough. But this would be the time to at least begin to talk about it, because sooner or later, you've got to make some sort of a motion to either augment the budget or to make a special assessment.
And it's gonna have to go into the budget committee, so they might as well be looking at it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I think this, I mean, right now you need to look at it so that you're ready to go into this Monday meeting and ask some questions and be familiar with what's happening.
Yeah.
This is the time, you need to look at it now.
Yeah.
So you can ask questions, everybody on the board, and as well as if there are people in the community, if they're still here and they haven't left
You
yet.
have to warm them up to the idea. of
I do
special
too.
assessment.
Well, when I
I've
get
been
to-
Doing that verbally to the people I ran into in Woodlawn.
When I do the insurance discussion, we'll talk about the rising prices and
Yeah.
budget costs and things like
Well, if
that.
they got their own insurance bill, they know they're going up.
Yeah,
Could we make some type of reference to it in the owners meeting?
He's going to
Good
make
to
this
know.
set.
Stay tuned and come back for the other
He just said
meeting.
he's gonna.
Yeah.
talk.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
The second thing on this, what we've already talked about as far as funding it, you've got that on there. Okay, got it.
Got it?
I was thinking maybe we could tie those two meetings together, because everybody heads out the back door after the owners meeting.
well, I'm
And
gonna,
that's a topic of
Yeah.
conversation.
well, I'll leave it wherever you want, but I mean, I could bring it full circle to what maybe costs are, or I can say that the board is gonna have to make a decision on how to collect for the money, but so much money is gonna be needed.
Let me ask you your opinion, at least, and even the people out there on Zoom. Do you want John, when he does his explanation at the owners meeting, would you like him at that point? Because we're afraid we're gonna lose owners by the time you get to your regular meeting. Would you like him to not only just have a general explanation, but at that time to also give his financial summary as just a way of letting, and not take the chance of losing your owners before you get to your meeting. I mean, not just a brief understanding, John, but the
Yeah.
specific things so that we have the owners there and not wait to put it on, take off
Yeah.
off of the board.
Well, the
of
board's
directors.
gonna have to make some actions on it, but yes, I can include that in one of my discussions. All right.
How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I think,
I think that's
Yeah, how
important.
about people on Zoom? Could you give us some input, how you feel about this?
I think,
I think we need to be told.
I think the sooner the owners know this, the better.
Really.
It's not as though the association is raising the rates unnecessarily.
And I think once you tell them, then you go out and talk to your neighbors and things, but if you don't give it to them, any other comments on Zoom meeting members?
I think it's a good idea. I agree with Roger.
Is it anybody I can stand behind?
John, you can
Don't
stand
do
behind
that. You're
me.
making everybody be scared about this instead of
That'd be
saying, you know,
true.
be a Zelensky.
I bet I heard Cookie volunteer. to
Yeah,
stand out
yeah,
front.
Yeah,
I
just be a
volunteer.
big protection, yeah.
Okay, so John, we're gonna move,
Okay,
okay, John, so we're gonna move this off
All
of,
right.
the funding of insurance budget F off, and you're gonna.
no, we're
include-
gonna leave it on there
We'll
too,
leave it
because
there,
they may
too.
have to take some action. They may not.
Well, you don't
Yeah,
have to.
don't-
I mean,
don't
you
have
can,
to.
you can vote.
That's
you
right, we
do
can
the-
wait for April. We
Yeah,
can
you
wait for-
don't even
We're
have
gonna
to
be a
take
long
action.
time. We can get rid of it.
Because you have a couple of
bring it
new
back up
board
in
members,
April.
so it wouldn't hurt to
Yeah.
just wait for a
Yeah,
while
they-
and
they- Yeah, and they need.
give
to
them
get
an
acclimated
opportunity
to
with
what's
your
going
two
on.
new
Yeah.
board members to
Okay.
kind of get
Yeah,
familiar
because
with
this will be a
what's.
third meeting already, so you might as well,
Shorten it
Yeah.
as much
Yeah.
as
I
possible.
think this does a good thing for us by doing it at the annual
I do
meeting.
too.
Because when people start to complain, I didn't hear about it, we
It-
say, it was discussed at your annual meeting and you didn't come.
Right.
Rather than say it was discussed in a board meeting.
I think it's good to let them know about this as
Yeah,
long as you can, rather than waiting. So I would put it in there and then, and the other thing, I think no matter what action you take, John, isn't the only action you really can take, and correct me if I'm wrong, is to send it to the budget committee.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That's the
yeah.
only vote you got coming up here. You can't do anything else, I don't believe.
Well, no, you can't. If you were going to make an assessment or something like that, you just have to have a 2-week notice before you even discussed it. So yes, it should go to the budget committee to figure out which way it can
Which
be
they want to
funded,
do, and
what
then they'll bring
percentage
it
we
back to the
use,
board.
that type of stuff, and then make a
Well,
recommendation.
but We've laid the pipeline here
Yeah.
beautifully
Right.
because of the fact that we've identified the problem, we've identified that we're working on the problem, and here is a solution that might be the one we're sending to the budget committee
Yeah.
to have it looked at.
And then they'll bring it back to the.
There won't be any of this jazz of, how come nobody told me that we were gonna have an
Yeah.
assessment? Just like you were saying.
You
So
will get
Does
something like
that
that though.
mean that we should bring it up to send it to the budget committee? So that,
When it's on them, you could,
We'll do it then.
you could do that in April. You could, well, you know, I would leave it, on this agenda just to send it to the,
To the budget committee.
yes.
So that would be a
No
vote.
discussion, yeah.
That would be a
Yeah.
vote at this meeting. I would mark that as a vote, just to
Yeah.
be,
to send it to the budget.
yeah, I would
Yeah.
leave it as a vote item, that they,
Yeah.
you guys should vote to say yes or no, do you want, and then at least it's legal. You're gonna send it to the budget. Their first meeting is usually in July, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think this thing would probably have to cause us an earlier meeting.
Whatever, but at
Yeah.
least you have a record. It's a vote item. I usually put a vote next to whatever items are vote items.
I agree.
I'd
Okay,
say that's
You might
something
want
we'll
to
probably
get
have
a
to
list
deal with
from
pretty quick.
Maggie, committee chairs, so you can, when we're on your organizational meeting, you just say that we're gonna keep the committee chairs,
Okay.
you know, unless you have somebody you want to.
Yeah.
All right, should we go over this sheet, please?
Yes.
All right, because it's, hopefully it's in such a manner that you can understand what's going on. If you look at the top of the page on the right, obviously you got dates on your left. In the middle are the items that are going to happen. And on the far right are the dollars and cents. The first line item is how much money is in the bank today, right now, in the insurance fund? 400,875.98. That's what we start with today, okay? Now, there's
What is
something.
that figure?
Pardon?
what?
What is that figure again?
I'm sorry, you're not, you're a little garbled. Is that Monica?
Yeah.
Where is
No,
it?
it's Tammy.
On the right-hand side.
What?
Right-hand side, right at the top.
400,875.98.
It's not on that one, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, right here.
Okay, there you go.
You see it, Tammy?
No.
No.
No,
Do you have that figure? Do you have that?
No.
It went
No.
out. It went to everybody. Well, you can look at it on the line.
That was sent to you, an email.
Everybody got it, but that doesn't, right now, Chris has it on this, on the sheet. Can you look on the, can you look on?
Well,
the screen?
Tammy's on the phone.
Yeah.
not on phone. It's okay, you just gave the number, thank you.
All right. Anyway, the number is 400,875.98 in the bank right now
We're on 3/7.
on 3/7 or yesterday. Okay.
Okay.
It's interesting. They're billing us in 2 segments. I said, why? we anticipate 501, 499,356.23. Because Joe said he didn't want to hit the ACIC with an increase in valuation before they binded our property at 78 million. So what he's going to do is he sent us a bill for 436,356.23, which has included his proposal minus the $63,000 for the extra valuation. Within 2 weeks, he's going to approach ACIC and tell them that we got the new valuation and we owe the 63,000, but they will have already bound our coverage. So there won't be an issue about increased value before, and have them be able to say, turn around and say no.
Okay.
Okay, so what I'm saying is on 3/7, we got a bill, 436,356.23. Within 2 weeks, we'll have a bill of 63,000. Our total bill then will be 499,356.23, which for however it worked out is about $2,000, about $2,900 less than he proposed the other day. So
Right.
Yeah, it
got a
was
little
like
bit of savings. It was
5,001, wasn't?
501.8, something like
Yeah,
that.
that was that
Yeah.
original proposal from the
yeah,
other insurance that he was gonna meet, so it still came out a little less.
So it come
Okay.
out a little less. Okay, what that means is that in our insurance fund, when we write the check between the two invoices, because they're all going to come in the month of March, we have a deficit of 98,480.25 in the account.
Mm.
Now that's real dollars, okay? That's not paper dollars. Our last determinable or calculated surplus was about 115,000. So where's this money going to come from? The 98,000, it's from the surplus.
Mhm.
So that's basically going to take it down to maybe 15,000 bucks or less, depending on what happens in May and June. I'm sorry, February and March. Next line item is the amount of insurance that we contribute every month to the fund. In this year's budget, we figured 412,000. And so that means every month we take in 30,021.49 for the insurance fund. So that means for the rest of the year, we're going to take in 270,193.41.
Mhm.
The amount, okay, which means to pay back our surplus, our fund will at the end of the year be $171,171.16. So we'd end up at the end of the year with the insurance fund of roughly 171,000, and we'd have our $98,000 back in our surplus.
Everybody understand that?
Got
it.
Now I
Okay, oh, wait.
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry. So normally we need to be collecting that 30,000 a month.
We are.
We are.
Okay. What part of that is covering the overdrawn surplus?
All of it.
100%.
Plus, because if you take 30,000 a month times time month, you're bringing 270,193.41.
That's just for a future insurance bill.
That's for what?
For the.
But it's
gonna
all
go
one
against
fund.
The
It's-
negative
it's all
balance
one
of
fund.
98.
It's
It's
all
all
one
one fund.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought we needed an incremental amount because we're already down.
No,
in
that's
the,
just
the
going
surplus,
against.
aren't we?
Well, yeah, we're down
But
in
we're-
surplus.
But we're paying it back.
But I mean, yeah, you're wiping your surplus out, but you're paying
Paying it right back,
$98,000 back in this calculation.
In this calculation, it's going right back into
See,
it.
but it's all in you might say the surplus is here, the negative is over here, double entry bookkeeping, as you understand. The one's going to be $98,000 short to balance. But then as you collect $30,000 a month, it comes back the other way and they get the 98,000 back, but you have less in the insurance fund. If you didn't have the $98,000 deficit,
So we'll
you'd
get
end the
there.
year up with 270,000.
I'll let
You
finish.
know, it might be
Yeah.
easier just to say,
Yeah.
when you pay this, you're gonna be short $98,480.25. You're
Right.
gonna be short that.
Yeah.
But over the next 9 months, when you pay the 30,000, you will be earning income of 270. I'm only gonna round it off. So you pay back what you were short, the 98,000. You still have now in your account 171,000. They
Right.
don't need to know where it's coming from because they don't
Okay,
understand that.
Yeah, okay.
That's weird.
So now you
Anyway.
have in your account 171,000 at the end of the
Yeah.
year. That's what you have in your insurance account.
December 31st is 171,171.16.
That's what you have
Now,
at the end of the year.
Then
in
I
that
did,
insurance
I made
account,
two calculations. Okay,
Okay,
I made
that's
a
all you need to know.
I made a calculation where there would
Yes.
be no increase next year. And I made a calculation where there would be a 12% increase next year. Okay, so if there was no increase in the premium next year, we would be short $328,187.07, which equates to a $590 assessment to each owner.
Well, wait a minute now.
Whoa, whoa,
Go
whoa,
back
whoa.
here. You've got $171,000 left at the end of the year in
Yep.
that account. So now if you pay back, you got to add to that 171, John, don't you? What we're
No, what's
paying-
the ad?
Well, because,
The surplus.
no,
No,
don't
surplus
worry
is
about
paying
that
back.
surplus.
Sir, we're
Forget
done
about
with the
that
surplus. We don't need to
surplus.
talk about surplus.
We don't use that surplus for insurance usually. We only
So
did
you
it when
think
we
the
need it.
insurance is gonna
Forget
be
about it.
559?
Okay, what we have right now is 171. So now during the year, we have another 3 months, don't we have,
In March.
yeah, we have 3 months. We
I
have
mean-
January, February, March,
right.
of part of the 9 months, 3 months that are coming at 30,021.49 or whatever that's coming in through your association fees that you haven't put in there as a
Well,
positive.
I want to talk about that, okay? Because this is all maneuverable. This is straight out before any amendments or any talk, okay?
But I know,
The assessment would be $590, okay?
yeah,
Now, what Sue's talking about is you would get another $90,000 in January, February, and
March.
March of 2023.
right.
But that's the fallacy. Then you're going to be short next year because you've used the beginning
Right.
amount of money 3
That's
months.
right.
Now, you can do it, but it just pushes a raise off until that means you'll be short the next year. But there's not a problem because it's a big deal. It's $90,000. $90,000 is very easily found. The 558.
Oh.
$161.
All right, it's $161. So that would mean it would be a $430 assessment instead of $590 if we equated it and take the next 3 months to make the payment and then do the same thing and do the same thing and do the same
No,
thing.
that's rubbing Peter
Yeah.
to pay Paul, and you can't do that.
All right, so what would happen is that if you included the next 3 months in 2023, that assessment would go to 430 instead of 590, okay? Now, that's if the rates are the same. If the rates go up 12%, and we've been getting 18 and 25%, the same figure is 696, less that, how much was it? 90? No, less, yeah, 90, yeah. What's 100, it was $160. So it would be 530 if it goes up 12%.
You know what? Not even as a board member, but just as a unit owner, hit me once.
Yeah.
Don't do this to me every year. Hit me one
Yeah,
time.
really. I hate to see that come.
I'm for the 696.
I see what you're doing, John. You guys can do it any way you want to do it. I
Mhm.
see what you're doing. I mean, that's not normally the way we do it, but that's fine.
But then
Well,
you're doing
no,
it
no,
again
no,
the following
no.
year as well.
This is why
Any way
we
you
throw
want
it
it.
out.
Yeah,
It's
fine.
not me. I'm just trying to provide you with the projected figures that, of what you have to do.
Sorry.
Well, I just think if people are gonna have to come up with money, they'd rather have to do it one time. No, they're gonna have to do it.
Well, you could do it
every year.
2 times in the second quarters. I mean, say round it
I'm
off,
saying,
say it's 500, say it's $400 assessment would be $200 each quarter.
well, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But have one, don't have the same amount of an assessment the following year as well.
You know,
That's what
it's
you're
it's
trying to
all,
avoid.
it's
That's what I
all a
would love.
guesstimate, no matter what you're doing. You
I
can do it this
understand
way,
that.
or you can do it the other
But
way.
if
It
you're,
makes
if
no
you're
difference.
Well,
taking
now
that
what
first
way are
3
you
months,
proposing?
I'm not proposing anything.
Oh, okay, because I'm interested. You know.
I'm not proposing anything.
Oh, okay.
but if you take that first 3 months out of 2023,
That's a normal way that we've been
I
doing it.
understand, but that
So
was
I don't
when,
care if you do it
that
that
was
way.
when we were solvent on the fund,
Yeah.
on the reserve.
Because
We aren't anymore because it's gone up so high.
that means that each
What
year,
do you
if
mean
you
we're not
didn't take,
solvent?
I'm sorry.
We owe money. I mean,
On-
we
on
owe $98,000.
That has nothing to do with the surplus.
Well, it does, because that came out of the surplus.
It went back in.
Not yet.
Yeah, it will.
I know, but that's with the $696 assessment.
No, it doesn't. It went back in where
$590.
that red mark is, right at the end of that time. We didn't take it out. It went right back in. It just flowed right back in.
Now,
So it
the other
doesn't do
option
that.
could be, you don't want a $100,000 surplus, you want a 50,000 surplus. I don't know that that's wise, and I couldn't advise it. I'm just
I
spreading
think
the wealth.
everybody wanted that.
At 100,000, I mean, when we had that hurricane, we spent
Yeah, I think everybody
$96,000
wanted that.
cleanup.
Look at our stairways now too. We're dealing with that.
It's reserves though.
Yeah, we continue to have these little issues that seem to be
Well, we got the
start
Actually,
out
they're
little and
pretty
turn into
big
big.
issues.
Yeah, we got that coming too.
Pretty big issues.
So what?
Electrical
Those are
Oh,
gonna
good
start
Lord,
failing.
yes.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got two
I
calls
forgot
today.
about it.
strats.
Did we really?
Two today, two people at 441 and 442, both have half powers. We got FPNL coming out.
Have
We started funding for that
Yeah, I
this
was
year.
gonna say,
Yeah.
if we started a fund in
Yeah.
this area.
Yes, we did.
Well, it's quite obvious that has saved our soul probably the last 6 years that I've been around here. And I sure don't want to put us into an empty bank account there. So I hope that we keep that 98,000 or more, frankly.
Well, in this scenario, you would, yes. And if we can be judicious and if we do everything, maybe we can start building that surplus up again. I mean, it got there, in my opinion, primarily because you went many years without doing anything.
Well,
That's how the
also-
big surplus got there.
Yeah.
The rest
also
of it
the
is-
Insurance rates went down.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
got.
George Fisher has his hand up, Sue.
Oh, George,
Yes, what do we do now? We can't wait until January or next March. We have to send this to the budget committee and make some kind of change in our maintenance fees for July and October. Is that correct?
and I think that's what, correct me if I'm wrong, at your meeting, that's what you're gonna vote on, is to send this to the budget committee.
Correct.
Right.
And then the budget committee will come back to the board, and it depends on the board what you want to send them. Either you can send it to them as an assessment or to increase the monthly budget. But that's going to be up to the board to decide what you're going to send to the budget, or maybe you just wanted to have the budget make the decision. But you can actually, as a board, say, this is what we recommend.
Why wouldn't it be the other way around? So then we
You
got
you can do it that way, but if you can do it either way. You can say the budget committee, you make the recommendation, or you can say as the board, are not correct, John? You can say, this is our recommendation. It's perfectly fine, either way you want to do it, but that's gonna go to the budget committee, I would think, at your March 14th meeting, correct?
And we have a timeline that's already been established based on the bills coming due.
Yeah.
Yeah, first of all, I'll be.
Wait a minute, George, does that
I'm
answer
sorry.
your question? Excuse me?
Yeah, I think that the board members should be at the budget committee, if possible, all of them.
Then that's not, yeah, okay.
And that's it. Don't we have to? It's a board
Okay.
meeting?
No.
The totally understandable, George.
But like I
But
said,
you've got to, and what's in a name? People say, you ever have a special assessment? No. They won't know, but you might have had a budget augmentation. And that would be added in your maintenance fees. You wouldn't have a special assessment because you can do that.
yeah,
So can I ask, when would you need the special assessment? What time frame would you be asking them to pay it?
You have to give owners 2 weeks in advance before you could pass it. So theoretically, May or June meeting. But this, if you're gonna do it in June, you might as well do it in May because of the bookkeeping and everything else involved,
Yeah.
and let people know. Could you do it in April? Theoretically, you could do it in April.
Might not be enough discussion time
Yeah,
to get it done in April. Maybe it'd be better, easier to have it all ironed out to vote on it in
yeah,
May.
because there's variables, like Sue said.
Yeah.
If you want to take the first 3 months
Right.
in the next year, then you lower it some. If you don't want to do that, then it's a higher. If you want to, if you don't want to use a 12%, maybe an 8%, you lower it again. I mean, there's discussion points for sure.
You do
It-
have the
if
option.
it-
Yes, George.
The way I look at numbers, it looks like we need about $160 per unit this year to just cover this year before we talk about raises for next year or anything like that. Is that right? About that amount of money?
Well, yeah, if you did the 98,000 divided by, yeah, it's something like that, George.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then we have no.
But then you-
Monica had her hand up, Sue.
no
Surplus.
Hi, Monica.
Why don't the Board of Directors get the figures together within the next 2 or 3 months and put an increase in for at least 20% for the insurance?
Right.
Because it has gone up faster than that over the last 3 or 4 years. And then figure out how much money we need to start next year with and how much money we need to reimburse the fund that we are short of right now. And I think we can do that in one of our workshops or in one of our meetings.
Yeah.
That's
We
what he
just did,
just
that's
put
what
in
that
front of you.
paper is, Monica.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't need to go to the budget. We can send them already final figures.
I see what you mean.
I think we have a committee for a reason, and I think we should use it.
I think it's, yeah, I think Pam's made a good suggestion that we do have a committee and it would be, you know, it would, it's the right form, to at least submit it to them to have some feedback.
You know, Barbara, I need to explain something because you keep using surplus funds. So I'm telling you, I just want to kind of explain to you a little bit. When you look at this line, which is the balance of the insurance fund at 3/31/2022, that's a negative number. You understand that line, right? The very next line is the insurance budget contribution for 1/22. And that's $30,021.49 a month for 9 months. That comes out of our budget. That's what we come up every month that we put in from our association fees. That times 9 comes to $270 and 193.41. If you subtract this negative amount that we have from this positive that came in from our fees, our association fees, you're back to another positive amount. This has nothing to do with the surplus that you're referring to. Does that make a little more sense?
I understood that when you explained it
Okay.
before.
Okay.
Surplus has
Yeah.
already been paid back.
Yeah,
Right.
Well, that's the whole.
Right.
But we
we'll
only
end up
have
with
$171,000
Still in the back of
towards
my mind,
next year.
we're
So
still-
That's the
59.
problem.
Right.
Yeah.
But it is right
That's what
there.
we need
It's
to
paid.
From-
make
It's
up.
paid from our monthly thing.
You have two things. You
Only
either
one-
have
one-
270,000 in the operating fund, or you have 171. But if you have 100, the dollars are the same. It's just, you still have, you get the 98,000 paid back. It's already paid
So
back.
no, we just took an advance from the operating fund.
That's right.
Yeah.
You took a,
Then
you
the
took
collection.
Yeah.
about 3 months of
Because the bill came in
$30,000.
before we could collect the
Yeah.
30,000 a month.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay,
So,
Got it?
so somewhere in July, the $98,000 is back.
okay,
Yeah, just, you know,
okay.
got it. Okay.
Are we gonna have any issues with our budget committee based on the fact that somebody's going home? Is Tom gonna be around here for?
Tom's always around.
Tom lives,
Okay, good.
but Tom, has Tom come back on the committee?
I don't know. There's another question. That's a good one too.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Good,
All right. So
good,
that's good
And
news.
Sue, you're gonna be on. that,
excellent.
right?
I think so.
I think you should.
So that we've got things to look at, and the discussion will be made at the owners meeting. The vote to send it to the committee will be at the, I think.
Board of Directors meeting.
At the board of directors meeting. I think that it wouldn't be presumptuous to ask them to meet within a couple of weeks. So you can get this on the road and be ready for your no later than May, if not April meeting.
Good idea.
As soon as we do it.
Well, even if they could
That would
meet
be
in
the best
April
thing
and
to do
make a
would be to
decision by May.
Ask
that
them
would
for
be great.
their
Yeah.
suggestions
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah, ask them. So, we'll be meeting around the 21st of April, roughly, for our April meeting, and ask the committee to have met and give them, direction, give us your feelings of or how it should be collected.
And in the meantime, talk to your neighbors and see how they want it. That's very important to get their input.
Well, we had a person from Pinehurst who was on the Zoom meeting when we had the insurance guy here. She was very impressed with him, and that was her line of work.
Oh, really?
Cool.
Yeah, Jamie and Debbie
You know,
bought my
I
unit.
Oh, okay.
think it's important that we think about this, guys. We're kind of an entity in here. We got a group, we got and so on, but we got a ton of brains out there that we aren't picking. When we got people like this in their former jobs and people like Tom and all the rest of us who had different skill levels before we were retired, we should take advantage of. They don't have to be on the committee. They don't have to be a board member, but we can certainly walk up and say, like we have to our electronic engineer over here, what would you do
Exactly.
with your carport and or your
Yeah, you
solar
just
panel?
have to be able to get them involved, and not everybody wants to get involved.
Yeah, well,
And even to make suggestions,
neighbors.
they just want to blend in.
You bet. Well, it's nice on a neighbor basis, not on where we're gonna put a stamp on the forehead, that we can ask for opinions and or advice. So keep your eyes out.
That's what we do at the pool.
Sounds a little bit like,
Yeah, but that's pool lady. I'm not sure. I think sometimes they're a little nervous about saying what they feel because somebody's sitting alongside of them. And I mean, it works both ways. I think it's nice to go to their door and kind of talk to them, but everybody do it your own way, whatever works.
I think John sounds a little bit like a priest looking for time and talent of people.
Okay, let's go on. So just about, we got that all straightened out, right? Can we move on
Yep,
here a little
yep.
bit? Okay. Okay, new business communications. John, you'll be doing
Yeah.
that. The wind mitigation, and if you don't know this, and I think I'm right on this, John, correct, and this wind mitigation study, I think if you get a copy of that and send it to your insurance company, it will help your.
Everybody gets it.
insurance.
Yeah.
Everybody gets it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's on the website.
But the problem is, like the proposal or the evaluation for insurance purposes, it's a 3-year, the state dictates that you must get a new one every 3 years, and our last one was 2018. So we've got to do this one. This is a new one. Last time was like $2,500.
Right,
I'm sorry.
but I'm only saying.
No,
just-
$4,500.
But isn't it true that if you send a copy of this to your insurance company, it helps your rates?
There is not an agent that would write a policy that doesn't get, we send mitigations out
right.
daily.
Yeah.
But if you've already had your insurance, they don't come back to you like my insurance.
Every
I
renewal
had.
they do.
Yeah.
Do they
Yeah,
really?
Mine hasn't.
Yes.
I don't think so. They didn't.
Really?
on mine.
Yes.
They
You just
didn't
said
on
you
mine.
don't
If
have
your
to.
insurance agent does it great,
Not
but
all
I
of them
would,
do.
I would double check if they do
Well,
or
I
not.
had to bring it up to my insurance agent to
See?
make sure I got a discount.
Yeah, I
or
did too.
whatever. But they made me sign it. There was something.
Yeah,
That had to happen.
Yeah.
Like I had to sign it and swear. I was like, but I didn't do the study.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
How can I
this-
swear to it?
This is sealed by a professional and it qualifies, okay? The mitigation study.
well, I'm only saying, my point is to everybody in Wildwood Springs, they may do this on their own. I don't think they do. They never did on
They
mine.
should be preemptive and bring it up.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
just, it's.
Oh, you don't have a good agent if they don't ask for it.
Well, none of us have
Really?
good
Hello.
agents, that's because they never did on mine, so I'm only saying you might check into it if your agent hasn't. I would
And I
say,
think mine might have retired, but.
yeah, take care of
Actually,
yourself.
That's
So
something we're
what
just
made
gonna
me
have to vote on
bring
and
it up
have
to
you
my
Yeah,
agent
yeah,
was back
Give me a
then,
budget of.
somebody here said, bring this up to your insurance
Yes.
agent.
And we probably
and I
gotta go
did,
above
and I
what
said,
they
"Hey,
had
you
before."
just did this."
See?
That's
So
right.
if you guys hadn't
That's
said
budget
it.
John.
If you
Probably
hadn't
got
said, so
retired in the
everybody
last
needs to know that.
Six
They
ninety-six,
don't always do
yeah.
that.
Last bill was
Okay,
$4.
let's,
Yeah.
The budget's gonna have to be
Excuse me.
higher.
Yeah, I think they're still in business.
okay, let's go. We got
All right.
C, is L, John, I'm not
No,
sure.
no,
Is that a
that's
special?
that's a operator error.
Oh, okay,
That was blank in case you wanted to add something.
okay. Then we got the
Unless
manager's
it was
report,
AGL.
committee reports, et cetera, and owners, and then we adjourn.
Yeah, and
So-
it shouldn't be too many committee reports because they all
They
did it.
already
Yeah,
just gave their
already
big
did.
one
Yeah.
for the big meeting.
Right.
So I'm gonna be on a cruise, getting on the cruise that
Nice.
day. I am gonna try to call in, but I submitted a proxy just in case I can't get through. So,
Yeah. Well, where are you going to?
Western Cozumel.
Oh, good. Enjoy.
Boarding at noon, meetings at 1. I don't know what time. it is
Oh,
there,
you know
so
the zoo that is.
I'm sorry I won't be there.
They sail at
but
6:30,
I'm
but
gonna
you
try
party
and call
between noon and 6:30.
Yeah, it's cocktail hour from 1 on.
Yeah, that's right.
Everybody
Away from
checking
there, as I
in.
go into the school.
I'd say, are there any questions about
Yeah.
anything, anybody?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff here, so any questions?
If I might, from an owner's perspective, I would prefer that you go a little bit slower on the insurance assessment calculations. You have basically 9 months to consider this, and you're rushing to throw it to the budget committee in a month. You have a new insurance agent who may be able to help you. He seems to be much more proactive than the previous people. You have the possibility of lowering your surplus. You have the possibility of maybe spreading your insurance payments out over the year rather than making it all up front like we're doing now. So I think that you're rushing this a little bit, and I think you should slow down.
You know, and in Chris's, to say one thing, you're taking your vote on that insurance before you have owner's comments. You know, on your agenda.
Just sending it to the budget committee, I don't think that's.
No, that's,
Okay.
they can discuss it. If there's a motion to send it to the budget committee, the owners can then voice their opinion at that point.
Yeah.
But
Take note
Chris,
and
you
see
make a
what
good
Chris is
point.
saying. It's a good point.
Yeah. Chris, you make a good point. I did do research and I forgot to include it that if we were to finance and make payments over the year, insurance, current insurance rates for financing of insurance is 4.8% of the total value. So
Wow.
if we were to say get a loan for the 100,000 that we're short, 98,000, it would cost us $4,500, which is pretty much usury in my book.
John, when's our second payment next year?
Second.
In March?
Well, yeah, we got all our payments will be in March. This, right now.
Next year. So
Next
we-
year will only be one payment,
in March.
March 7th. It's always renewal.
Okay, so we have to have this money no
But
later.
no later than March 7th.
Right.
And the thought previously was have it by December 31st, so you don't have to worry about next year's budget funding last year's budget.
Exactly.
And so that's the thought behind that.
That's good. I think you should let everybody know that's your timeline because it's due in March.
And I don't want to be behind the
Yeah.
eight ball again next year.
But
You don't know about that.
Well, we
it
don't,
is
but-
quite like usury
know.
though, for the amount of, if we were to finance, think about this. If we were to had to finance the $500,000,
Right.
that would be a $20,000 interest hit.
Well, I don't think anybody wants to find
No,
out.
no, they don't. Well, Chris is saying paid over a period of time. And that's why I responded, because I have checked into it and that's what the rate is. Unless you borrow from a bank, unless you could borrow from a bank too, and you might be able to pay that. little, you know.
Tom has his hand up, Sue.
Tom,
Yes, 2 points. If we could spread this $600 over the year, that would be an easier hit for those people on fixed incomes an extra $50 a month or 150 a quarter. The second thing is 4.5% interest on the $100,000. If the inflation rate continues to be 7.5 or 8% is not a bad deal. Not that I'm an advocate for financing anything, but there it is.
Thanks, Tom.
Well, it's not 4.5%, well, it's 4%. You have to, well, yeah, I see your point, but the way it seems to me is that 4% of the total thing up front is kind of the way they
I
do
don't
it.
think anybody wants that anyway.
No,
But I can tell you one thing, I spent $70 filling my tank today.
Yeah, Barb has
Whatever we've done in assessment.
Marv Howard has a comment.
Yeah, I have two comments on this. Number one, if it's 4% on the total balance, it's really not 4%, it's probably 8%.
right.
Because that's add-on interest, which is an old way of doing things that people used to really get to steal some money from you. But separate from that, I was an advocate and probably didn't speak up enough that we raised more this past year when we raised. And I think we should take a real hard look at this and get started with July and spread whatever we need over 6 quarters instead of 4 quarters. And I think because it's all coming and we're going to have to pay the piper. And that's the way you run a business. You plan it out in advance and you really work it through that way and not go month to month or quarter to quarter.
agreed.
All good points, all good points.
Any more comments?
Oh, there is one more comment. Yes, I'm sorry. And seeing Marv, I'm remiss in not including discussion about a water cooler. The water cooler is not functioning here. And no, she wants vodka.
I have one and I've fallen in love with these things. You guys who are not here on Zoom, you are really missing out.
Missing out.
Wow.
Anyway, the current water cooler is not functioning, has to be replaced. It hasn't been replaced because water coolers, no pun intended, are falling out of favor because of COVID.
Oh, yeah.
And so we haven't fixed it, or it's not fixable. It's the compressor's rusted. And the point is, does the board want to discuss or put on the agenda discussion of a water cooler?
What do they cost you?
Around 900.
Just do it. It's been years
know.
since we replaced it.
Isn't there a certain amount that we
Everybody
don't
brings their
have
own
to
water nowadays.
discuss? I mean,
That's the debate.
Wait a second. Wait a second. It would be cheaper to buy a little refrigerator and bottled water.
Ooh.
no, it wouldn't.
No.
Environment. Not with the price you bought water at the store lately?
If you have a little tiny refrigerator, it would be cheaper than a water cooler. And either you bring your own water or have a, you know.
Do we have the money in office equipment?
No.
We would have the money in machinery.
Do it.
And so,
No.
all right, that's why it should be debated, because I got to get a feedback from a lot of players that they bring their own water and wouldn't bother with.
No.
Yes, dear. Come on,
Hold on.
Leslie.
Yeah, I am against providing a refrigerator full of bottled waters because bottles are not recyclable in Florida, I don't think. And let's just put the friggin' bubbler back and give the tennis,
Yeah, who cares?
yeah, just do it.
It
I'm with
might be
Marv.
cheaper. It might be cheaper to put one of the things like we have in the office out there.
Yeah.
Because that comes in at a cheap lease. We can investigate that. Because we have 2 of those now and it doesn't seem to be very expensive. We wouldn't have to have a $900 assessment.
Oh, no.
But Marv, you would have to be in charge of lugging the bottles out there, though.
I'm not, all right. Can I speak a minute? Okay. I've been here for 10 years. When I first came and we played a lot of tennis, we had lights. Now we no longer have lights. We haven't had water. People do bring the water because they must bring water because there isn't any water cooler. There was a water cooler there from day one since I started living here. And it's ridiculous not to spend $900 in the heat of what we face in the summertime when we play and all times. I bring water because I have to. I want to bring an empty bottle and fill it. I'm tired of carrying the stuff around. It's not that much money. It's really kind of silly. We never ask for anything over at the tennis courts. Pools get everything. Everybody else gets everything. Put the damn thing in. It's ridiculous not to.
Make one for me.
Tennis budget.
Yeah, and the
You
tennis
got,
court
you got,
got money in it?
hey, Marv, you got a hose over by the car wash. station.
Come on over and I'll be glad to spray you.
All right, we'll put it on the agenda. Okay. Thank you all.
Anybody else? Shannon, do you have something?
Not a thing.
Anything, anybody else?
More than you think.
Nope, nope, nope. Okay, guys.
You didn't get yours open yet?
See you. Have a good day.
Uh,